Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Today we meet again at 8 o'clock live for yet another episode of Gyan Pravah, the initiative of our President of Fogsi, Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar Madam, wherein every day one of the chairpersons, we have 30 committees and 30 chairpersons, so we take turns every day. And today is my turn being the chairperson of the Fogsi No to Violence Against Women Committee. And incredible 272 episodes, and we are going strong. We started somewhere in the end of January. So every day, a very illustrious and person has done a lot of work, mostly in the women's health and rights and issues. So they'll come and they will interact, try to. And this podcast goes live to most of the Foxy members and other non-Foxy members. And this is recorded, and it is, in our Foxy channel, so for everybody to see, and we keep sharing the YouTube link also. So let me first introduce our President Foxy, Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar.
Kiran, don't no need of my introduction.
I only have 3 or 4 words, ma'am. She's the President Foxy, of course, but she's a very, very well-known fertility specialist, a great laparoscopic surgeon, and a stem cell research and regenerative medicine. There are many of her medical technical interests, but apart from that, what keeps her apart is she's a leader par excellence, and she has keen passion in all the areas which are pertaining to women's health. 360 degrees view.
Thank
Madam,
you, Kiran.
We have a lot of meetings. Please give your message.
Thank you. Thank you, Kiran Mai. And thank you for getting the leaders like Sen Gupta ji, who has worked so much in this field and who has worked for a voice of a woman, I must say. Sen Gupta ji, every day 8 p.m. So on 27th of every month, it is Kiran Mai who will be doing the podcast. And most importantly is the faculty, what they choose is always they work very hard to select the one. And the podcast are going 272 is huge number, and it's all because of these committed chairpersons who are doing amazing work. Kiran Mai is one of my very dedicated and sincere, dependable chairperson. Most important thing is everyone wants to work, but you need to be dependable also. And Kiran Mai is like that. So today you came here on a Foxy platform. So I just joined to welcome you and show our respect for your time that you have come on our Foxy platform. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will now join the viewers link and I will listen to the dialogue between both of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining, taking time.
Thank
I
you.
know it is next to impossible to join live every single day.
No, it's my pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you.
Great commitment and thing to learn for us also. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So let me introduce our guest here today. Shampa Sen Gupta is the founder director of Shruti Disability Rights Center. She's also the joint secretary for National Platform for Rights and Disabled. She has done a lot of research, advocacy, networking on the issues of gender-based violence, which is the area of interest of my committee. And also as a gynecologist, I've been seeing since almost 15 years how violence impacts the health, overall health, physical health, mental, emotional, sexual and reproductive rights. We talk so much of indices, maternal mortality, infant mortality, but everything is related to this gender-based violence. A lot of it has roots in this inequality. So it was a pleasure to know Shampa on social media platform, and also I keep seeing the work that she does. Tremendous and stupendous, I should say. Her areas of interest are mostly on gender and disability and the intersectionality between that. So she's been the guest faculty at prestigious institutes like IIT, National Law University, and we all know the POSH committees at sexual harassment in the workplace. So she's been external committee member of various POSH committees, including Cognizant, and she's awarded fellowship by CRY, the Child Relief organization, and she worked in a lot of organizations. And one more important thing is She works with the West Bengal Commission for Women and National Commission for Women in various aspects and research and advocacy. Welcome you, Shampa, and we would like to know.
Thank you so much.
Would like to know because it is being healthcare workers, we are not aware of. As I have told, it's only though my career spans 25 years, it's only since a decade that I've got really, learn that how violence impacts the health. Otherwise, we are so totally oblivious to all these things, and we think as if health is something which is isolated kind of thing. So, women with disabilities and the intersection and the gender, it's so much. I don't know a lot about it, so, but I intend to learn in this dialogue with you. So, welcome you, and we'll start with the first question of can you share a brief journey about yourself, about founding the Shruti Disability Center, and how you came to work in this area. Then we can go on to the core discussion.
Thank you, Kiranmai. Thank you, Foxy, for giving me this opportunity to talk about the intersection between disability and women's rights. The journey has been very interesting because when I initially started my work, I started very early from my college days only. I was interested in the issues, so I started volunteering first and then graduated to like I started taking courses on disability. Uh, and when I joined an organization on women's rights, specifically on that worked in Kolkata on violence against women, so I was working as a crisis center there. It's very interesting because, and this was like many years ago. So we never thought that disability will become part of our work. In the year 2000, there was a gang rape case of a young hearing impaired girl in Kolkata in the prison van. Just imagine, I mean, it's kind of like all kind of violation that happened. Something happening in a because this girl lost her way. She was roaming around, and police picked her up to give her a safe shelter. And within the van, she was raped by two policemen. And this was
Police,
a case,
yes,
yeah. So it's like an extreme kind of violation.
extreme kind of violence by the people who are supposed to safeguard.
Yes. And this was years ago. So it came to us through media. I mean, media was not so much, what do you say? Now it's become like too much of information. This was like in 2000, so not so much information. We got to know from one TV channel. So we visited the Thana, we went to the police station and all this, and realized because I had already worked on disability issues previously. I had more interested because she was a girl with hearing impairment, and I realized that the women's group I was working with, it was like a large network, but women's group are also not very like they said, how can we help her? She can't hear, and then I asked my disability groups organizations there. They said, but it's a rape case. It's not our issue. So we can't work for her. So at that point of time, I decided I'll start something of my own because
Yeah, women's groups were not able to help, and the disability groups also were not able to help. I mean, this is where the intersection.
exactly, this is my real life experience, and disability process, it's a rape case, it is not our issue. And
Our
it,
issue.
it was, yeah, so it was like 25 years ago. So now, of course, situations have changed. But that was, it's very sad kind of case, but I've followed up that case for, uh, the court case goes on till years, as you know. Everyone knows in India once.
Totally at a loss how to go ahead, what to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. And that was the time I decided I will start Shruti Disability Rights Center because there was a requirement, there was a gap that someone needs to work
Of
in the
course, yes.
intersection. Yeah,
That you have noticed and we started working on.
yeah,
There are, people with disabilities is what we say, and then there are men, there are women, and there are across the spectrum. Of course, as we are educating ourselves, like LGBTQ plus everything. So when compared to, if you take the binary, men with disabilities, how much more the women with disabilities are impacted, even within the disability spectrum? What is their prevalence or in the workforce, in the education? How much more they are disadvantaged when compared to men with disability?
it is extreme, and this we have statistics from all over the world that women with disabilities are not even reaching school level education. I mean, I'm like India, we have quite a grim situation if you look at the statistics. I don't want to quote the statistics if it gives me like, I feel so sorry. And but if you look at the government statistics also, or the UNESCO, the UNICEF statistics, even the girl children are not even reaching school, and there are many reasons for it. So one of the basic reasons is, of course, access, because if all people with disabilities find it difficult to find the accessible rooms, accessible buildings, even accessible reading materials. So, because disability is a vast concept again, it's
Must,
not
yes, yes.
not only locomotor disability or visual impairment. So the accessibility is a huge issue, and when it compounds with the gender, what happens is, I'll give you an example so you find it like the listeners will find it easier to understand how it works. So we have heard a lot about railways, Indian railways. It's not accessible for wheelchair users. So many people have complained about it. But we have a young person because she wants to talk about it openly with her. So I'm taking her name, uh, Virali Modi. She wrote very clearly that when I travel with my parents in a by train, everyone in India will not be able to afford flights. We need
True.
trains. Yeah. So she said that I need two, like, coolies will lift me up, and two men will lift me up and take me to the seat, because there is no wheelchair access to the train. And she wrote about it, and she says, while lifting me, they had been touching me inappropriately, and this was happening in a railway
It is
station.
totally possible and not at all
Yes,
unbelievable. We
yes,
have, I think, as women, have experienced this groping some point in time, even being
yes,
fully able, whatever it is.
yes.
So it is totally.
So there is a difference between how men are, because of inaccessible railways, how men are facing the problem and women are facing
How
the
women
problem.
are.
It's two different
This
kind of.
gender
Yes,
perception definitely
yes,
comes, of course, of
yeah,
course. And also, I think I have, though it was there in my, awareness, but I have realized by reading one of your posts, I think, how uh, ability or ableism is so short-lived, even in the so-called able and fully, functional adult. Like, you are only able only for a certain period. Like if you have an accident, old age, or some serious ailment, you are not able. But still, the world is made for the fully
yes,
able. As if I mean, you are excluding a lot of people, and even the so-called able people also are excluded at so many points of time. But still, we don't make changes. We don't make it accessible for everybody. Even we feel it, the joint pains or with some fractures or anything. If you go to the public areas or transport or flights or railways or buses, it's so difficult. And the example that you shared is, it puts everything into light and
right,
perspective.
yes,
Yes. Then what are the common misconceptions or stereotypes that we in people or persons, women with disability? What are the common, of course, we all suffer from stereotypism and misconceptions. What are these when we think of women with disability?
There are quite a few. See, disability as UN CRPD, the United Nations Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities, says that disability is an evolving concept. So it is changing. The concept of disability is also changing. And it changes from one country to another, at one point of time to another. And it's also, it's not like a homogeneous issue. But the moment you hear the word disabled, we think that it's a person is incapable.
Incapable.
Yeah. So instead of thinking of a person as like disability as a diversity, we try to think that it's an inability, like someone who cannot perform. So that is why this whole misconception is like they will not be able to do anything. That is one misconception. The second misconception is there is also a term called super fit, like someone who's like, oh my God, can't work, but he's did so good in education, like something like that.
Yeah, of course. We hear it even in women. Of course, we are very familiar with that, how stereotyped we are.
Yes.
We can't do certain things. And if we do, despite being a woman, she has achieved it.
Yes,
So the both
exactly.
ways of
Because gender is a social construct, and for us, we know that disability is also a social construct, and that's what CRPD says. It's important to talk about the barriers because disability is not something which is within one person. It is the society that makes you disabled. The example that I gave you is like if the Indian Railways make everything accessible, like so the person can go with a wheelchair on her own.
on her
You
own.
don't need a
people
support. Yes. So, so it's a society that is making us disabled, and so that is why it's very important to understand that. And these stereotypes are very harmful also because the moment you say that "Hey, this person has done so much, it's like it's that super clip kind of then it also becomes difficult for other disabled person who have not achieved that because it shouldn't be uh, linked with your achievement.
Yes.
Like
Very true.
many of us live very like
Ordinary kind of.
ordinary life.
Yes.
And that is good enough. Why do we always have to like achieve?
Yes, that is very very important aspect. So, can you just tell us about have come across in your article itself this rights of the Persons with Disability Act and the Mental Health Act? What are the constitutional rights and how recently or how many years back that this has come into existence, or is it enough? What are the protective kind of rights in the constitution or in the law for women with disabilities? Again, persons with disabilities is there, then that lens, gender lens on the women specifically, considering the vulnerabilities.
We had our first disability law, which was passed in 1995. That law is redundant now, but that was the first law, and there was no gender concept in that law. So I mean, it
simply
was like
persons with disability. That's all.
yeah. That also talked only about 7 categories of disabilities, and it also didn't look disability from a social model. It looked more from a charity model. Okay, this
Charity
people
model.
disabled, yes. So you give them something, that kind of thing. So, so after CRPD was ratified by India, the convention, UN convention, was ratified in 2007 by Indian government, and after
UN,
that,
just Shampa, just for clarity of audience, UNCRPD is the UN Convention on rights.
Convention on rights of persons with disabilities. Yeah.
UNCRPD had come first,
Yes.
and
Yes.
our RP Act is modeled on that. That's what
Yes.
I have. Huh.
Yes.
Okay.
Because because CRPD is a binding law, so
Hmm.
after
Hmm.
ratification, India had to, like, it was
Had to, yes.
obligatory to change our law. So now we have, in 2016, we had our Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act passed in December 2016, and yeah, so it's not even 10
Decade. It is
years
not even a
old. Yeah,
decade. I
not
was
even a
surprised to
decade.
see that. Not even
So,
a decade.
yeah, and we know that implementing a law takes time in our country. It's not that you change a law and things will
I know.
change
Everything
automatically.
changed.
Yeah, it takes I mean, passage of law is difficult, but then implementation is much
Practice
more
of law is
difficult.
different,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah. So,
But the legal framework and the rights construction
mhm,
is really important on which you fight and take it
yeah.
forward.
Yes, yes. And this RPD Act has, like, it had several sections on women with disabilities. Not like a full chapter, which we wanted. We, of course, wanted more, which we didn't
Hmm.
get. But we have a, like, number of clauses in it on, and I think it's very, very interesting to, when we look at RPD Act, it talks about uh, protection of children and women with disabilities from abuse and discrimination. And it also talks about, this is something very interesting, it also talks about that there are poverty alleviation schemes in our country. There are many poverty
Hmm.
alleviation schemes, and women with disability should be getting like reservation in that. This is
Hmm.
something very interesting, because
Okay.
a lot of the violence and discrimination this woman faces because they cannot earn money, and they are, like,
Hmm.
totally dependent
Hmm.
on the
Hmm. Hmm.
families or society. Maybe they're living in institutions.
So
So
poverty
for
alleviation is an important solution, and I think this
yes,
is where the
yes,
intersection part of it comes,
yes,
like
yes,
economic,
yes,
gender, everything. Okay,
yes,
please go
yes.
ahead. Yes. Huh.
Yeah, and I think that is something extremely important. And for example, we have all these housing schemes.
Hmm.
Kiran, I know we have in different states that it comes in different names. Also, there
Hmm.
are national schemes on housing for poor people. See, if the house which government is giving, if it comes in the name of the disabled woman, her
Hmm.
position will increase in the
Incomes.
family. Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll give a small, example. We have the old age pensions in our
Yes.
state. That
Yes.
definitely has improved the status of these old people
Yes.
because the children definitely look after them because the pension of around 1,000 that elevates their,
Yes.
creates that value
Yes.
because every relation at the end of the day is almost transactional and it is related to the money you earn, of
Yes.
course. Yeah,
No, we
very,
all
very
know that
interesting.
economic freedom is very, very important. Even for people like you and me, everyone.
Yes,
Like, even if I'm getting, say, 500 rupees extra, it makes me more, like, I can
yes,
go out more, I can, like, buy
it's
my
very.
freedom, if I may use that word. I
And
can buy.
your self worth is so much related to the financial
Yes,
independence you have, I
yes,
think. So
yes,
it makes it even more imperative that women with disabilities have this.
yes. RPD Act also talks about sexual and reproductive rights. It's very
Hmm.
interesting. It doesn't talk only about women with disabilities. It says people with disability, because, like, in general, in our country, it is there are some eugenic thoughts where people think that disabled people cannot become parents, and
Of course.
Yeah,
I think
so
this is an area I really wanted to, because being from the health and women's health point of view,
yes,
of course, I have seen this forced sterilizations and forced hysterectomy also
yes,
being done by the parents and the family, and there were a lot of, I think they have been done, because this contraception, hysterectomy,
yes,
forced sterilization,
yes.
this lack of
Mm.
agency. And can you elaborate a little more on that sexual reproductive health rights in women with disabilities, especially intellectual disability and
Yes, yes,
psychological impairments?
yes,
Because we deny these rights to them
yes, yes.
in general.
Because even the family members think that, see, there is a term called legal capacity. Legal capacity, which is used in UNCRPD and which comes to our country because of that. And it says that everyone should have decision-making power of his or her own. The
Hmm.
person should be having their own decision making power. And in this kind of hysterectomy cases, what is happening? Who is taking the decision? So in the family, if the woman is staying in the family, the family members are taking decision. So there's no informed consent. The
Hmm.
Yeah, it's mostly on young girls, so it's like maybe 18, 19, 20 we have seen. The parents say that, this my girl cannot take care of her menstruation, so I want the uterus to be removed.
It is for the
So
convenience of the caretakers of the family and the
yes,
society's
yes,
convenience.
yes. So when we probe a little bit, the mother will say, no, menstruation, so at least, okay, someone can manage. But if she becomes pregnant, what will
Pregnant.
happen? Yeah. So when we say that, why she will become pregnant, you are there at home. She says, I know, but I'm not there for 24 hours. And within the
Hmm.
family, sexual abuse happens. She knows
Happens.
that, but she cannot stop it.
Blame,
And
stop.
yeah, so
So it is
I'm
easy.
not I'm not
Again,
blaming
yeah,
I'm not
it is
blaming
easy.
her. Yes,
Yeah. The thing is, again, as you put the onus on the women, why did
yes,
you get raped? So again,
yes,
we are putting onus on this girl
yes,
or
yes,
person with disability, that you will do something to you instead of protecting or safeguarding
yes.
your rights.
So
We
instead
do
of
see lot of also. I mean, lot of we have seen these girls with disabilities lot more prone for sexual abuse
yes,
from the
yes,
neighbors. From do see lot of
yes,
rape and pregnancy also.
yes.
Yeah, please
Because
go
see,
ahead. Why you were telling
most of these girls, what happens is they cannot express whether sexual intercourse forced, or even if she was liking it, whatever. Like she cannot express it to the family. When a young woman is intellectually disabled, or maybe she's deaf, and then they realize that rape took place only when there is the advanced stage of pregnancy. And
pregnancy.
a lot of cases happen. You must have seen it as a doctor. Like, I think uh, this is something very normal to see. And then the family becomes like, we don't know what to do now. So instead of giving these young people proper sexuality education, we want to do
Reproductive
hysterectomy.
organs to be
Yes, remove. So it's a very,
very, very unfair and
yeah, you want to protect the person, you have to protect from sexual abuse, not from pregnancy, because,
sexuality or the
yeah,
sexual rights
yes,
point.
yes, yes. So, and it happens
But
within
I mean, the
families.
sanctity is
It happens within families. It also happens within institutions like
institutions
orphanages,
too.
shelter homes. Yeah. So that is
Happens.
definitely mentioned in the RPD Act that it shouldn't be done until and unless there is some
The
life-threatening disease or
RPD Act
something.
clearly mentions this, that this forced sterilization and
Yes,
whatever is happening
yes,
should not be done. It very clearly
yes,
protects
yes,
the
Yes.
This is something that everyone has to
Yeah.
discuss.
Yes. Yes.
Then that important discussion about sexual reproductive rights is very important for us gynecologists also to know, especially in women with disabilities, what the rights say, what about the RPD. I think everyone should be aware of this. And coming to how to work on accessibility and inclusivity in workplace. I mean, what are the things that your organizations or agencies, what is the role of the society, what can be done if you can improve the inclusivity as well as the accessibility, as you have said, in transport, railways, or workplace, wherever it is. What are the measures that can be taken?
Yeah. For accessibility, that the measure that can be taken is there is a term called universal design. And universal design is something which
Universal
is mentioned in
design, right?
RPD. Yeah, universal design is something that helps everyone. So if there is a option,
Everyone.
yeah. So suppose you run a clinic. Since you are a doctor, I'm giving an example that you run a clinic. So there are a few steps to go up your clinic, and there is also a ramp. So like ramp is something everyone can use. A pregnant woman who's coming to see you can
Everyone can
use,
use.
a wheelchair user can use, a small child, young child who's just started walking can use, and stairs are difficult for
I mean,
some.
we give options, nothing, we give options so that everybody can access. Uh, so, are
Yeah,
there any legal provisions or this thing for this that it has every place? Like we go to a movie theater,
yes,
I mean, leave alone disabled, even many of our able-bodied people also cannot navigate certain spaces and total,
yes,
you know, non-concern, you can say.
yes.
So are there any laws or
Actually,
legal provisions
yes.
or rights which say that
Actually, RPD Act is a vast act and it talks about everything. So it covers everything, and it is actually
hmm,
legally punishable now for government places to not
punishable?
to maintain. Yeah, it's punishable. So,
Huh.
but government offices. But I mean, we know that in reality, n- no government office got punished because they couldn't provide accessible environment. But we definitely, there are court cases going on. But for the private places, if you're running a private clinic also, it is not like punishable, but there are certain rules that you have to keep this accessible. And so I think once if there has been one court case where a person actually gets uh, an institution punished for not giving accessibility, the floodgate will open. All of us will be in a trouble. I mean, we cannot, like school, college, hospitals, everywhere. Like
Everywhere.
everywhere you need, yeah, transport. Everywhere you
I mean,
need
there's
accessibility and accessibility.
the concept that you have told, universal design. I think it's so even beautiful to hear and so much. It's not very. Is it not something which is impossible or not doable kind of thing? It makes things easy for a lot of people. Instead of for us, I feel ableist people are minority. If you
Yes,
really see, it's not that they are you know huge majority at different ages and you were
yes,
giving the example of Usain Bolt. I also shared that
yes,
post, I think. I mean, you can
yes,
be disabled at whatever stage of your
yes,
life, temporary,
yes,
permanent. So, universal
yes,
design works for all.
yes.
That's
See, for example, I am
so
not
this
a
is
wheelchair user, but I have a mm, like respiratory problem if I climb a lot of stairs. So I am based in
hmm,
Kolkata, and I cannot. We had the first metro started here years and years ago,
hmm,
and our metro stations have
hmm,
like in like 50, 60 steps. Just imagine. So for a person like me,
Yes.
I cannot access metro railway in Calcutta because it was
So you are
there's an old
excluding more and
station.
more and more
Yes,
people from public spaces and
yes.
transport.
So you are removing a lot of
Yes.
people from
Yeah.
public places, not
Instead of
just
being inclusive, a lot of
yes, yes,
spaces are exclusive.
yes,
I would
yes.
say. So again, when we talk about women, we talk a lot about representation and how the media portrays women. So that's a huge sore for everybody. But then when we talk about women with disabilities in the media or in general representation of them, it is very dismal, I think. I can recollect, while I was writing these questions, I recollected, I think, one movie, I don't know if you have seen the Bangalore Days, wherein one of the heroines, I mean, the protagonist is a disabled woman who is a radio jockey, and it's a beautifully played role. And so, there's a
I
media portrayal of
yes.
representing as
Yes.
per the population, as we see, instead of excluding the. Does it help? I think I feel it helps because media and movies are a huge influence on all of us.
It's a huge influence in a country like India. If there is a movie on a particular topic in Hindi, this what we call Bollywood movies usually, so
Hmm.
it gets a lot of like. I mean, you and me can make like hundreds and episodes, but they make one movie and it will be like throughout the country people talk
And it
about
goes
it,
to millions, of course.
Yes,
True.
yeah. So they have like they can impact. Unfortunately, we do not have many positive representation in media and
Portrayals.
movies, or yeah, or if you think of TV serials, and because a lot of people also watch TV serials, and we have seen some very negative representation also, where this woman is seen as like childlike behavior they have given, as if like a child and not
Hmm.
an
It's
adult
true.
woman. You know, all those things we have seen. So, but I
Or in a very pitiable condition,
yes,
uh, in a pitiable condition,
yes,
taking self
yes,
pity or pity for others,
yes. But
not a
things
very
are
empowered.
changing. Yeah, things are
Hmm.
changing. If we think of
Hmm.
what was happening 20 years ago, 15 years ago, now, of course, I mean, if you portray a disabled woman in your movie and you show her in a helpless condition, then it will not to be helpful for the community at all. So uh, I remember there was a movie where it was a Hindi movie with the protagonist was blind, and there and she
Yeah,
kept
Sparsh.
on saying that I not
Is it
Sparsh is
Sparsh? Sparsh.
no, Sparsh is a more positive one, but there was another one in which, and she kept on telling
Yeah.
her, the hero, that I depend on you for seeing. You know,
Hmm.
it was so it's as if she is helpless, and that the man in her life is
Yes.
have come to like sort of
Yes.
take her away from her
With her
grief.
eyes
Yeah,
and her everything. Yeah.
yes, yes. So that's a very negative way
I
of
cannot
showing.
see. You are my eyes.
Yes, yes. So we need more positive ones where, and also there's a
Real and
movement
presentation.
in not so much here, but in Hollywood, like the disabled people say that if there is a role of a disabled woman, then the disabled person should be playing it. You know, so all those issues are coming up. These
Ah,
are more newer issues.
they're coming up.
Uh,
True, true.
Yeah. So things
Exactly.
which we never thought of years ago, now of course things are moving. So I'll not be very like very negative about things. I think
Negative,
things are changing.
pessimistic kind of. Yes, hope is what
Yes.
takes you.
Yeah.
Definitely. We should not lose hope and we should keep working. And again, the gender-based violence and the sexual violence and the abuse in the women with disabilities is a specific area that you are working on, and you are talking about one-stop crisis centers. Can you let us know about this area of your work? What you want to share with us?
Yes, I wanted to share two very specific topic here, issues here where in for example, we had a criminal law amended in 2013, post Nirbhaya. We all know of the Nirbhaya case, the Delhi gang rape case.
Yes.
So after that, Justice Verma committee was formed, and uh, we were asked to give our, everyone was asked to give their comments, suggestions to Justice Verma committee. And so few of us, and we wrote about cases that we dealt with uh, of women with disabilities, and we sent and our suggestions were accepted. So now our criminal law, actually the 2013 amendment, actually have specific mention on how to deal with when a disabled woman is violated. So those clauses were included. Now we have the IPC is now named BSN, the Bharat Nyaya Sanhita, but those clauses are
Yes.
there.
And
Yeah, but
even in POCSO, there are specific
yes,
subsections in
yes,
when the abuse happens with women with disability,
yes,
right?
children
Is
with,
it it's aggravated parental sexual assault?
yes, yes. So similar clauses
Disabilities.
are there now in the criminal laws also, which is a very positive thing. Again, as I said, like to change a law, it takes a lot of time, but to implement it takes more time. So, but the laws are there. And when we talk about one-stop crisis center, as you know, is like it's more for women who face domestic violence, who can go and take like any kind of violence, but mostly if we act uh, after
Hmm.
that when maybe women needing a short-term shelter, uh, some kind of it should be in one place. That was the idea. But what happened is when we did the study, we saw that we did a 4-state study last year in 2024. We saw that none of the centers were actually disabled friendly. So if a woman with
Oh,
disability comes, yeah. So they don't.
uh,
The centers were
even the
not
one-stop
equipped
crisis
to.
centers had this. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, please go
like
on.
they
Yes.
don't have sign language interpreters or
Mm-hmm.
whatever kind of access needs are there. So that is something we are lobbying for with the government, that they need to change. A change need
I
to
think this
be.
is a very, very important blind spot, you can say. You simply
Mm,
say women who undergo abuse, but if a woman with disability undergoes abuse, we have laws
mm,
which say that it is aggravated assault or something like
yes,
that. But we don't have the rehabilitation centers tuned to
yes,
this
yeah, yeah. So
law.
actually, I'll request you, like Foxy, to take this up also, because this is
This has
something the medical
definitely,
professionals can.
I think we do have this 16 days of activism in November.
Yes, yes,
So I think we, we definitely incorporate this aspect
yes,
in one of our campaigns. Thank you for,
yes,
it's so, we unlearn so many things and we learn so many things as we really. This is one aspect which I was really not aware to. Thank you, Shampa. I think before we end, again, one final message on, what we call allies, people in the society who can support the leadership aspects and the activities of women with disability, how we can create safe spaces, and what the rest of the society, I mean, have
I
to
think
do, what you
I
want
think
to tell, like
I
us,
think
to
it is
everybody,
very important
or
to
even
listen
gynecologists,
to.
anyone.
Yeah, it is very important to listen to the voice of women with disabilities. It shouldn't be in whichever profession we are in, because you are a doctor, it's not that you should be taking all decisions. It should be that person taking decision, and you give that space. That itself is enough, like
What
to
is
bring out
right for
leadership.
that person?
Yes. We have a
That
slogan within
agency, that
disability.
agency.
Yes, agency. We have a slogan within
Hmm.
disability movement. It is said, "Nothing about us without us." So, if you want to do
Hmm.
any kind of event on women with disability, suppose on 16 days of violence of this fortnight, 16 days against violence in fortnight, or any kind of thing, you can
Hmm.
think of inviting one woman with disability who can talk about her own life. So, I mean, it just give the,
Yes.
yes, that kind of
The
opportunity.
space and
And
platform and the
yes,
mic. I mean, we have to
yes,
give the mic.
yes, and just
Yes,
pass
that
on
is
the
the
mic.
most important.
Yeah, yes, that
Pass
is
on the
most
mic.
important. Yes,
Give the platform.
yes,
Listen.
yes,
Yeah.
that is something very
Then the
important.
stories will themselves reveal and tell.
Yes, yes,
Yeah. Thank you so much for accepting to be our guest. It has been great pleasure talking to you. We were supposed to meet in person in Kolkata at some time, I think last year, but I'm happy that we met online at least. Thank you for coming and thank you for talking to us. And I think this whole podcast has been a revelation to me and it will be to all my friends and Foxians and doctors and everyone. Thank you so much.
thank you.